our 6-year-old daughter, Agnes, is missing. We've been calling her name, but there's no sign of her. My husband, Zeke, blames me for not keeping an eye on her and tells me to go find her myself. In the middle of the panic, Zeke drives off by himself. I try to shout after him, but he doesn't hear me. Now, I'm alone in the woods, feeling terrified about what will happen if I can't find Agnes. My name is Marley. I'm 35 years old, and Agnes just turned 6. She's a sweet and lovable girl. Zeke, my husband, doesn't usually like family trips, but he suddenly suggested a hike the day before. Zeke, also 35, is bossy and doesn't always listen to others. I wasn't excited about the hike because my asthma had been acting up for the past 3 days, but Zeke insisted, saying that fresh air would help with my asthma. When did he start talking to me so coldly? He used to be kind when we first got married. Is this what happens after 8 years of marriage? The day of the hike, we drove for about 2 hours to the mountain. When we arrived, Agnes was so happy and gave me acorns and pine cones she had picked up. Look, ma'am, I found these for you, she said. Zeke, who usually sleeps all day on his days off, seemed unusually excited. It felt a little strange, but I was happy we could finally have a normal family day. After walking for about 30 minutes, I was exhausted. Can we slow down a bit? I asked. Zeke and Agnes were already ahead of me. If you don't keep up, we'll leave you behind, Zeke said, getting further away. I tried to catch up, but I was running low on energy, and my chest felt tight. My asthma was getting worse, and I knew that could be dangerous here. Agnes was with Zeke, so I figured she'd be okay, and I decided to go at my own pace. Another 30 minutes later, I finally see Zeke, but there is still no sign of Agnes. Where's Agnes? She was with you, right? I asked. She was, but she wanted to explore more and ran off, Zeke says. You let her go alone? I ask, feeling worried. She's too energetic for me to keep up with, Zeke replies. If you're worried, go find her. She went that way. Zeke points to a part of the woods with thick trees and a path that isn't clear. I need to find her quickly. It's dangerous here. Agnes, where are you? Answer me, I shout as I search, but no one answers, and I can't find her. About 20 minutes later, I return to Zeke, only to find him talking to a young woman in her 20s. Where's Agnes? I ask, feeling anxious. This lady told me she saw a young girl walking toward the parking lot. Zeke says, I'll go check there. No, you should keep looking in the woods, I tell him, but Zeke walks off with the woman, heading toward the parking lot. I go back to where I last saw Agnes, but it's eerily quiet, and I don't feel anyone around. Come to think of it, I hadn't seen many people since we got here, except for that woman. What if I can't find her? I wonder, feeling more and more afraid. Agnes, please answer me. I call her name again and again, but it feels like the woods are swallowing my voice. Zeke isn't answering his phone, and I realize I have no signal on my own phone. Not knowing what else to do, I go back to the parking lot, where I find Zeke still talking to the woman. They're both smiling, so I think maybe Agnes has been found. Where's Agnes? I ask. Nope, she wasn't here, Zeke replies calmly. Why are you so relaxed? I can't hold in my frustration. Agnes is still missing, and Zeke is chatting happily with this woman. I don't get why you're mad, Zeke says. Aren't you worried about Agnes? Let's look again. Enough. It's your fault for losing her. Go find her yourself. I'm going home, Zeke says angrily, then gets in his car and drives away. I try to chase after him, but it's too late. He's already gone. When I call him, he doesn't answer. He really left us here. Soon, the young woman is gone too, and there are no cars left. What should I do now? The sun is setting, and it's going to get dark soon. I think about how scared Agnes might be and go back into the woods, but after searching for over an hour, I hear nothing. My asthma is getting worse, and it's hard to breathe. It feels pointless to keep looking alone. Finally, I realize I should call the police, but I don't have any signal. After a lot of effort, I finally reach the police and find out that Agnes was safely found by someone. I call a taxi to go get her. When I see Agnes, she runs to me, crying. Ma'am, Thank God you're okay. Are you hurt? She asks. No, ma'am, I was scared. I'm so sorry, Agnes says, still upset. I feel relieved, but I can't stop coughing. Agnes gently rubs my back and says, don't worry, we'll go to the hospital right away. I thank the police officers, and we head to the hospital for my asthma treatment. Luckily, it's not serious, and I feel better after using my inhaler. But then, Agnes says something that shocks me. Ma'am, one of Dad's friends told me about a place full of beautiful flowers. I was with her, and then the next thing I knew, I was alone. Wait, you didn't go exploring in the woods? I ask. No, I wouldn't do that, Agnes says. Do you remember what this woman looked like? Agnes shows me a picture she took with her toy camera. It's of the young woman Zeke had been talking to earlier, and they were close, like more than friends. Could Zeke be cheating on me? The shock makes me dizzy, and I crouch down, coughing. Man, are you okay? Agnes asks, worried. I'm fine, I say, but deep down, I realize I can't let this go. Zeke won't get away with it. I'm going to keep my location hidden from him. I turn off my phone's location and decide to stay at my brother's apartment nearby. Zeke doesn't know that my brother, 10, recently moved in. Our house is visible from there, but Zeke's car isn't home, and the house is quiet. Where could he be? I call him. What do you want? Zeke answers. How could you leave us behind? I ask. Because you're annoying, he replies. Did you find Agnes? Yes, she's safe. My asthma's bad, so I'm going to the hospital for about a week. Agnes will stay at my parents' house. Really? I ask, surprised by how calm he sounds. You almost sound happy about it. I was relieved that Agnes was safe, but my distrust of Zeke only grew stronger. He hadn't apologized or even asked which hospital I was in. He was probably with that woman right now, planning something awful. My anger burned inside me, but I knew I had to wait until I had proof. Finally, Zeke came home late at night and left for work like usual the next morning. In the meantime, I bought a small security camera and installed it inside the house. I could watch the footage, including audio, directly on my phone. And now, I had Zeke under surveillance. That night, the woman from the mountain walked into our house. They Saturday down to dinner together, drinking wine and getting touchy. Seeing them like that made me feel sick. I overheard their conversation. It was a good idea to take advantage of my wife's sickness and bring her to the mountain. This 1 week while she's in the hospital will be heaven. You're so clever, boss, the woman replied. Now we can't relax without anyone disturbing us. It's uncomfortable being together at work, but the thrill makes it better, Zeke said. It seemed like the woman was someone from his workplace. They even seemed to be doing something suspicious there. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was absolutely unforgivable. They were laughing and hugging each other. Now, I had my chance to catch them in the act. I quietly left my brother's house and returned to mine. I sneaked up to the living room, confirming they were still there. I started recording on my phone, then opened the door with a loud noise. Well, aren't we lively? I said. Why are you here? You're supposed to be in the hospital. Ow. Zeke and the woman were in so much pain, they couldn't even separate from each other. It was hard to watch. I felt being shocked, just pathetic. I asked someone to call an ambulance. The sirens blared, and soon a crowd gathered outside our house because Zeke and the woman were screaming so loudly. Our neighbors were starting to notice. They were both covered only with bed sheets and were loaded into the ambulance. As Zeke's wife, I followed them to the hospital. After a while, they were treated and released. The doctor said they could go. So they Saturday shivering on a hospital bench, wrapped in sheets because they had no clothes. It was so humiliating. When did you get out of the hospital? I asked. Zeke replied. I was never admitted. I said, I've been keeping an eye on you. From my brother's new apartment, it has a clear view of our house. I sighed and handed them hospital pajamas I borrowed from the nurses. I couldn't watch their shame anymore. They quickly put on the pajamas. How long has this been going on? I asked. Zeke tried to explain. You're wrong. She just came to drop off some work documents. I showed him the picture Agnes took of them and said, This is you. You left Agnes alone in the mountains to be with her, didn't you? Zeke tried to deny it, saying she was gone when I realized it. But I replayed the conversation I had overheard between him and the woman, where they were clearly being intimate. Zeke and the woman were both shaken. I asked him again, still going to deny it. Zeke looked uncomfortable and said, I can't believe you waited for me to be away to meet up with her. What's wrong with you? I snapped back. Look who's talking. You're the one spying on me. How can you say that after leaving our sick child and me alone in the mountains? Seeing Zeke not care or show any remorse made my feelings for him disappear. I'll never forgive you for putting Agnes in danger. Divorce? Zeke asked, surprised. Why? How can you even ask that? If we're so well matched with her, then just go be with her. I glared at the woman sitting next to me, and she glared back. She tried to link her arm with Zeke's, but he shook her off and grabbed my hand. I was just messing around with her. I never wanted to ruin our family, and honestly, it was painful. So, I'm breaking up with her. The woman's face twisted with anger like a demon's, and she slapped Zeke across the face. Are you kidding me? She yelled. What are you saying? Enough. I'm tired of men who only want younger women. She was angry because Zeke had promised to marry her after divorcing me. Watching them fight made me feel sick. Both of them were to blame. The woman knew Zeke was married, and Zeke would probably keep doing this. A nurse stepped in and said, Cut it out. This is a hospital. Keep it down. Once they were quiet, I told them, You better prepare yourselves. I'm reporting you to the police for abandoning me and our daughter in the mountains when I was sick. Zeke said, What? That's not a crime. I replied, Of course it is. They both suddenly changed their tone, looking apologetic, but I could tell they didn't mean it. That's not all I want. I said, I want the house sold, the property divided, and $30,000 for compensation for your affair. And don't forget child support for Agnes. Zeke and the woman kept apologizing, but I wasn't interested in their excuses. You have to take out loans to pay me back. And if you've learned anything, stay away from men with families, I told the woman. Zeke suddenly got down on his knees, begging for forgiveness, and the woman quickly followed, but I wasn't moved. What is there to rethink now? I asked. I looked down on both of them in disgust. I'm also going to inform your company about this. I added, Goodbye. I left them there, still arguing, and immediately went to the police to file a report. Soon, they were both arrested for abandonment. My lawyer said it would be a serious charge for both of them. Zeke and the woman lost their jobs. I finalized the divorce and got them to pay for the affair settlement and child support in one payment. I also sold our house, which helped me get even more money, including a settlement from the woman, paid from her severance package. As I was thinking about moving out, my brother Tim, who had been really supportive, said, I'm worried about you and Agnes living on your own. Why don't you stay here with me? I accepted his kind offer. Now, I'm living happily with my daughter and brother. My asthma attacks have stopped, and I feel so much better now that the stress is gone.